Commissioners, are we ready?
Get you a towel.
Get a bid.
Yeah.
Everyone? Go ahead and call this meeting to order. May we have roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor Harden,
Present.
Vice Mayor Martinez,
Here.
Commissioner Linenbroker,
Here.
Commissioner Segrist,
Present.
Commissioner Warren.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. May we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have the invocation, please? Good evening, Pastor Alexander.
Good evening. Let's pray, Commissioners. Father, we thank you. Even in the midst of crisis across our nation and the pandemic, God, that we still have faith that you are Lord and are on the throne. God, nothing is beyond your control. So God, today we're so thankful for the grace you provide us for the community we live in. Lord, bless these commissioners as they serve this community. Give them the wisdom and the favor to do it diligently. And Lord, so that you receive all the honor. God, bless them. Bless the city of Liberal and our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Kevin. We have no awards, proclamations, or presentations tonight, so we will move on to the approval of the agenda. And we do have one amendment. We will be adding agenda item number 11, which will be the airport grant offer.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren with a second by Commissioner Segrist to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Now we need the approval of the March 29th, 2020, or excuse me, March 9th, 2021 regular meeting minutes.
I move we approve March 9, 2021 regular meeting minutes as printed.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Segrist with a second by Commissioner Linenbroker to approve the March 9th, 2021 regular meeting minutes as printed. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Linenbroker with a second by Commissioner Segrist to approve the consent agenda as printed. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to agenda item number 5, resolution number 2350, authorizing certain improvements and approving payment thereof. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Larry Kleeman with Ransom Financial, the city's financial advisor. I'm here on a couple items regarding bond financing, some improvements. There's a $1.2 million in total improvements for a number of items for your consideration tonight for parking lots, recreation facility improvements, and so forth. There is another little twist I wanted to throw in here because we're issuing these bonds for $1.2 million. We've also been discussing with city staff about refinancing your KDHE water loan, which is actually just being completed. The interest rate there is a little over 2%. Right now, we're estimating market rates to be about 1.5% if we were to include that in this sell for the recreation and parking facility. And so it could actually save you a little money by turning that water loan into a bond. If you guys are looking at my handout with the red page 1 at the top, the cover page kind of summarizes it nicely. And option 1 is we could just do the $1.2 million in improvements like we planned. It would be unrated because typically with a small amount of $1.2 million, we typically don't rate that size. But we could add the KDHE water loan in, get a rating on that, pay S&P rating agency $15,000-$20,000 to rate this combined issue. And then we would estimate about $150,000 in total savings if we put that all together. Now, one caveat there, rates could increase over the next month to the extent that it wouldn't make sense to refinance the water loan. If that were the case, then your $1.2 million project would cover the entire rating fee, which in the long run might cost you another $5,000 or $6,000 in debt service. So the little gamble here is you might be able to save $150,000 if rates turns higher, so that we pull out the refunding piece next month. then you're paying a few $1,000s more, which seems, in discussion with staff, seems like a good bet. And so that's kind of our recommendation here tonight. That's how the documents are structured. But just to let you know that that's the option we're looking at here. If you wanted to pull out the refunding portion, we could. But right now, we're contemplating going ahead and doing the new money plus the refinancing the water loan, hoping to save you guys $150,000 and get that whole thing rated. The two items before you tonight, there are two resolutions. One is to authorize the financing of the various improvements we're looking at, a little over $1.2 million. And then a second resolution authorizes the bond sale for next month, I think your April 23rd or thereabouts meeting. And at that time, like I said, we'll get interest rates by the best bid. We'll see if the refunding still works, in which case, if it does, we'll go ahead and include both of these two series together. If it doesn't, then we'll drop the refinancing out and we'll just do the $1.2 million new money portion. If you have any questions on that, let me know. I do have several pages behind here just kind of detailing the savings as we see them. But
And then
otherwise,
you are gonna cover the water improvement projects in here, correct?
well, do you want me to go over the water loan, which we were contemplating refinancing?
No, the new water projects. That was talked, we were gonna go with the state revolving fund loan.
Oh, okay, for the newer projects?
Yes.
There, for the new projects, for the new loan, it's gonna be at a better interest rate as opposed to bonds. But this, just not to confuse everybody, the one we're contemplating refinancing, that was set at a higher interest rate probably a year or so ago. The KDHE doesn't change the rate once you lock it in like you did. But for new water projects, yes, KDHE has a great lower rate, lower than their 2% now, I think.
So staff will be going ahead and getting that put into KDHE, and then we'll present that to you at a later date.
Right.
Perfect.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to expound on that, I guess.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
that's
well,
no
I
problem.
knew that we had talked about having it all together, and I just wanted to make sure they understood that was left out of here.
Yeah.
No, and it's worked out fantastic over the last year, being able to refinance a lot of the projects that we had using Go Bonds and the amount of money that we've saved. So
Right.
excellent that we have another opportunity to do so.
So is the resolution 2350, if we approve that, that covers it either way, or do we need to make?
That is for the,
That's for
he said
the
1.2.
million? That's only for
Correct.
the one, okay.
And then the next one would cover both of those added together for the 5 million
Okay,
amount.
so the first resolution we just need to approve, so I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2350.
Second.
You'll approve both resolutions tonight.
To do,
Right.
No, do them separately
though?
Separately,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Right.
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren with a second by Vice Mayor Martinez to approve resolution number 2350. Is there any more discussion on the topic? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to agenda item number 6, which will be resolution number 2351, authorizing the offering of sale of Go Bonds Series 2021A and Go Bonds Series 2021B.
and this one, by approving this, we're gambling the 5,000 or 6,000 to save the 150.
Correct.
Automatically, it's in that, so we don't need to say anything extra.
Correct.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2351, authorizing the offering of sale of GO Bond Series 2021A and GO Bond Series 2021B.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren with a second by Vice Mayor Martinez to approve resolution number 2351, authorizing the offering of sale of Go Bond Series 2021A and Go Bond Series 2021B. Is there any more discussion on the topic? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 4-1.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, sir.
See you next month.
Moving on to agenda item number 7, we have the insurance review, and Mr. Al Shank is with us this evening. Al, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Commissioners, I'm here tonight, Al Shank Insurance, representing Employers Mutual Casualty, to visit with you about your renewal, pricing, terms, all that sort of thing. I think you have in your packet probably the information that I sent to Mr. Ford previously. And what we might do is I know one of the things you're interested in is renewal premiums and those sorts of things. So if you will go to the last page of that review, then we can go ahead and discuss some of those items in detail, if you would like. Our current premium is $730,626. What we are proposing for 21-22 would start out $733,419. Now, what you're looking at is any vehicles, audits, or anything that were paid during the current policy year have been annualized and included in the current premium. So what we're trying to do is if you had a vehicle you added 6 months through, we've annualized that premium so that you've got an apples to apples comparison of what you would have paid for everything for a full year in this policy term and what we're starting out with for a full year in the new policy term. Just some notes in that area. Of course, you're familiar with the fantastic luck that the city has had with regards to dividends. You can see a total of a little over $1 million in the last 15 years. But more importantly, in the last 5 years, the annual dividend has been somewhere around $98,000, almost $99,000. We're certainly hopeful within the next month or two that we'll be able to deliver you another dividend check. And even though dividends are not guaranteed, you've got a very consistent history so far of them, so that's great. Good news with regards to the second year in a row, we've had the city's workers' compensation experience mod that has dropped some. That's a good trend. If you remember, the experience mod is your 3-year rolling average of workers' compensation claims. And so we hope to roll off bad years and roll good years on, and that's what we've done, why we have a drop somewhat with regards to this year. We hope to continue that trend. Likewise, on item 3, your 5-year loss ratio is 38.7%. If you'll think of it in this way, for every dollar that you have paid Employers Mutual Casualty, they have paid 38.7 cents in claims and claims adjustment expenses. Anything under 50, and particularly anything under 40, is considered excellent. So the trend has been very, very good there. The only exceptions this past year is, although we've done really well in work comp, we ticked up just a few points over what we'd done last year. And then our auto was up pretty significantly with regards to its loss ratio. But there's not really, Mr. Ford and I talked about it today, and we looked at it earlier, there's not really necessarily one big loss we can put in there that causes for that bump. We've just had, I think it's probably what, an anomaly year with maybe 7 or 8 kind of mid-range auto claims, because the last 2 years were just absolutely excellent. So we're hoping that the experience we've had this last year, like I said, is just an anomaly rather than a trend or something, but we'll be watching it. So I'm not overly concerned about that because your history has been so good in the automobile area. And the only other thing, if you decide to approve this, is on item 4. The city has always carried a policy with a $350 premium for travel accident policy for commissioners and other on-staff and employees that have traveled, whether it's to meetings, conference, or those sorts of things. The last couple of years, Mr. Ford has asked that I include it in this presentation and that the commissioners consider renewal of it as well. So when we come back to that information, bear that in mind. Okay, if you flip back then to the page that's labeled at the very top as property, then we'll go into a review of coverages. Try not to drag you into too much detail. That's kind of what we try and do with this written review, is keep it relatively short and sweet instead of giving you the 162-page policy or quote and saying, okay, page 23. We're not going to do that tonight.
We appreciate that.
Thank you. We do have a little over $62 million in blanket property values, which include building and personal property. Coverage is on a replacement cost form, so we don't care how old the roof is, we don't care how old the building is. we're not gonna take depreciation before we pay you on a claim. Now, the exception to that is some of the older buildings we have out at the airport, some of the big hangars and those sorts of things. Those are on an actual cash value basis, but we're talking probably 5 properties. And we've got 35 locations or so, I think, around the city, so just a real small percentage. Everything else is replacement cost. And you can see that those, right below that, we list designated airport buildings. And they're separate from that 62 million blanket limit. We have about a $1.8 million limit that takes into account those buildings. You can see the extra expense and some of those things, no changes from the last year. Remember that our deductibles are $2,500 for all claims, except your wind and hail deductible, which has a $25,000 deductible per claim. Good news is that is a per claim deductible as opposed to a per building deductible. Seems like every now and then we have a big hailstorm like we had in 15, the insurance companies come out and start putting wind and hail deductibles in it. And then if we're lucky, we go a few years without any claims, then things get competitive again and they start taking them out. Right now, we're just in that section where they've included them. This actually is not a bad wind and hail deductible. I've actually had to deal with a renewal in the past year where we were looking at about a $350,000 wind and hail deductible per location. Yeah, we didn't end up, the client didn't end up with that, but that's where we started. That was kind of frightening. Inland marine coverage is included, 6.6 million. So this includes those things, well, you can see contractors' equipment, computer hardware, signs, police video equipment. That's all included in inland marine. We have some electronic data processing coverage. Of course, the last several years, a few years ago, we added cyber liability coverage. We're reading about computer fraud, computer issues on almost a daily basis. You may remember a few years ago, the city of El Dorado was in the news because of a ransomware issue. We've had that happen to some of our clients. It's, you know, if people would just use the intelligence they have to hack computers to do something good with it, it'd be pretty amazing.
It'd be a better world.
But we have a group of people out there in society who don't see it the same way I do, so. Pretty much $1 million limits across the board there. Then we have our general liability as well as our law enforcement liability. And all those limits are pretty consistent with $1 million, $2 million limits. Coverages on that, or questions rather, on anything on that page?
Does the new vehicles we acquired help or hurt your insurance premiums? You know, since there's safety devices in that gives you discounts, but
Actually, newer vehicles are going to be more expensive to insure because
like
their value is going to be more. But that being said, you know, I think all of us would agree to a certain extent newer vehicles are going to be safer, they're going to have better technology, so that's the upside of that, but they don't necessarily initially lower your premiums.
probably just like our personal autos. You know, sometimes it's
Pretty
a
much.
little bit, and sometimes it's pretty good because of the safety devices.
Yeah, the vehicles are a lot better today because of some of the things they include that weren't available.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there aren't any questions on that, then the next page starts out with auto coverage. And we do have 225 insured items on the vehicle schedule, so I didn't think another thing you wanted to do is go through a list of 225 vehicles.
Appreciate it.
Calvin and Chris and staff do a great job of keeping us up to date on changes, what should be taken off, what should be put on. Our physical damage deductibles range from $250 on specified perils to $500 on comp, and $1,000 on collision. The exception is any vehicles where we have more than $100,000 in value or purchase price as a deductible and collision of $3,000. We do include crime and fidelity for money and securities inside and outside the premises, computer and funds transfer fraud, forgery and alteration, and then a fidelity blanket bond that includes all employees for $500,000. You can see the workers' compensation area and the previous experience mods. So our experience modification this year is a 1.21. You can see in 2020 we were 1.25, in 2019 we were 1.32. So we've got it headed in the right way. We've got a nice trend of seeing that reduced.
And the goal is to get back to the 2017 numbers.
And below.
Yes.
But so far, you're off to a good start, so let's hope that that continues. The next page, if you want to move on, we do have the airport liability. That is with ACE Insurance Company. Employers Mutual doesn't do airport liability or aviation risk. That's why we've got ACE on that, and there's a $5 million liability limit there. Next, we have our linebacker, public officials and employment practices liability. This protects this group for somebody suing you because they take issue with the decision you made or they feel like there was an error in judgment or decision. More importantly, it covers employment-related liability issues. In the last 10 or 15 years, it seems like most of the claims that we've seen under this type of coverage are in the area of wrongful termination, discrimination, sexual harassment, those types of things that fall into the employment-related areas. We do have employee benefits liability. This protects you and covers you for any error or omission you might make in administering your employee benefits. Somebody thinks they got signed up for the group health plan and didn't. Somebody missed getting notice of an option they could have on their CAPERS retirement account, and they figure out that it'll make a difference. They'll be shorted in their retirement, so they go to the city and say, we never got offered this option, and it turns out that perhaps they were right, they didn't get offered. We have paid a claim similar to that, not on behalf of the city, but that's an example of the type of claim that would fit in that area. It's not a very expensive coverage. It's only about, I think, $258 a year, so it's well worth the cost. We do have liquor liability then at the golf course because you do have alcohol that is served out there or available out there. We have $1 million limits on that. Questions on any coverages on that page? Okay. If not, then we're back to the premium summary. And I would ask your consideration tonight to approve this if you see fit. That way we can go ahead and continue on the auto ID cards, get any certificates of insurance, binders, get orders to our markets to go ahead and bind coverages and those sorts of things.
I'm thrilled that the total proposed premium, I mean, really didn't increase very much at all. You know, everything around us is getting more and more expensive these last 2 years, and so it's fantastic that we can maintain the same level of coverage that we've had and be able to maintain basically the exact same premium that we're used to budgeting in.
We're always glad when we see that sort of result too.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you'll want to, if you want to consider adding the travel accident policy in there, then your total premium will be $350 more, or $733,769.
Al,
Yes.
what do we get with the $350 travel policy that we don't have in the auto insurance?
The travel accident policy is geared specifically to travel and accidental injury or accidental death and dismemberment. And so it sets on there some higher benefits than there are in the automobile. Plus, the travel accident is not necessarily keyed because of auto. It can be keyed because you're on another form of transportation like a plane or that sort of thing.
Thank you.
So it'll take care of you there.
And that's in a city vehicle or your personal vehicle or your personal vehicle?
That is just any if
City
you are-
business. City
City
business.
business?
Yeah, anything related to city business, and it covers the commission and all the city staff.
I think we should add that $350
I agree.
to the premium.
Yeah, and just for the notes for whoever makes the motion, that would raise the value to $733,769.
Any other questions, comments that I can field with regards to the renewal?
Thank you so much for being so descriptive, and the way that you outlined this in the packet was very easy to digest, so appreciate that.
Thank you. I'd make a motion, we approve the renewal for 2021 insurance through Alshank Insurance for $733,769 to including that $350 then.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren with a second by Commissioner Segrist to approve the total proposed 2021 and 2022 insurance for the City of Liberal through Alshank Insurance in the amount of $733,769. Is there any more discussion on the item? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
Al.
the chance
Thank
to
you,
work
Al.
with you another year.
Moving on to agenda item number 8, we have resolution number 2352, amending Article 1, Section C104 of Exhibit C fee structure.
Basically, this resolution amends a code book, sorry.
No, you're fine.
To change the price of the trash bags from $9 to $14, with the increase from last, I think we talked about at the last meeting.
Yeah.
This just kind of fits in with that increase.
Absolutely.
I move we approve resolution number 2352.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Segrist with a second by Commissioner Linnenbroker to approve resolution number 2352. Is there any more discussion on the item? All
I
in
got,
favor?
I got a question. Is the bag still $9 till we run out, or how's that
They're,
work?
we're gonna change, we're gonna change them effective the first of the month.
Okay.
And that'll help us cover next year's cost in case they continue to increase upward.
So
Any-
you still have some, come and get some this month, huh?
Yeah, actually, yes,
Better get a
Mr.
couple
Ford
rolls.
bought his today.
Yeah.
And then when he found out he had till the first, he wanted an extension, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, before we pass, I'll take a couple. Yeah.
But yes, till the first is what we're looking at.
Perfect.
If everybody's fine with April 1st.
Yep.
So do we need to change that on the?
Yeah, on the resolution, it says adopted the 23rd day of May, which would be today's date. So do we want to amend that to be the first?
Adopted the 23rd day of March,
Make
but
it
just have
effective.
another section added, this to take effect April 1st, 2021. So we would want to amend the resolution to add section 5 that says this fee shall take effect April 1st, 2021.
And part of the logic for going to the first was so that we could get it out on social media. Everybody would have that information, so if they want to have a run on trash bags the next 2 days, we're good.
All right, so before we vote on the passing of the resolution, may we have a motion to amend the resolution to add section 5, creating the effective date to be April 1st, 2021.
I so move.
And I'll second. We have a motion by Commissioner Segrist and a second by Mayor Harden to amend resolution number 2352 to add section 5, which changes the effective date of the resolution to April 1st, 2021. Is there any more discussion on the item? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. And is there any more discussion on the passing of resolution number 2352? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Is there a motion to approve it as
There is
amended?
there is a motion and second before the discussion.
Okay.
It'll be in the minutes. that was a good one because that was Inception type
Yes,
scenario.
Commissioner
Yep, it was the
Segrist
dream
and
within the dream.
Mayor Harden.
With Connie and
Yes.
Taylor.
Moving on to agenda item number 9, we have the CDBG-CV grant closeout. And item number 8, we are going to open up a public hearing. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing for the CDBG-CV grant closeout. I now declare the public hearing officially open. Have the proper legal notices been given?
Yes, Mayor, they have.
Thank you very much, Karen. I invite members of the staff to testify on the matter before the commission.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is the CDBG grant we received as a pass-through grant for businesses last year in July, $132,000. Up until recently, we had a hard time giving it away, so the last 3 grants have been pretty well given out. We have reserved $2,000 as directed by Commerce for the closeout, and that'll be given to the Hampton Inn as soon as the grant is closed. But they do request that we do that. They are going to have an audit of our files on Tuesday, the 30th at 2 p.m. And if anyone from the commission would like to be there, then you're welcome to.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for
I-
the information. Go ahead.
I have not had any comments about the grant since notifying in the
Terrific.
paper.
Do we have any questions from the commission or city staff? I also invite anyone in the audience to testify in support of the matter. Are there any questions from city or staff? Unapplicable.
Is
see, we
there
can
gonna
actually-
be another grant available if you
I
close
don't
this
know
one
of
down?
another grant.
You haven't heard nothing?
There hasn't been any information released on any future economic incentives as of this point. If there are no further comments, I declare the public hearing closed. All right, I would entertain a motion on the matter.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the mayor and the grant director to execute necessary closeout documents.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren with a second by Commissioner Segrist to authorize the mayor and grant director to execute the necessary closeout documents. Is there any more discussion on the topic? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thanks.
Moving on to agenda item number 10, we have the purchasing and contracting manual update.
And all that is we discussed at the last meeting, raising department heads to 1,000 and might limit to 10,000, which finance seems to be real happy because that eliminates some more paperwork for them. And so it's just officially typed now. That should be the only changes, correct?
Yes, and they are highlighted on the tablet.
And as far as a motion would go, you just wanna, we would need a motion to approve the new purchasing and contract manual as printed, or as prepared, with those amounts. They're already reflected in there, so you don't really need to even refer to those amounts.
I'll make a motion that we approve the new purchasing and contracting manual as printed.
Second.
Fantastic. We have a motion by Commissioner Warren with a second by Vice Mayor Martinez to approve the new purchasing and contracting manual as printed. Is there any more discussion on the item? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. And now for item number 11, we have the airport grant offer.
Okay, Brian was able, oh, he did just show up. He said he wasn't gonna make it.
Good evening, Brian. Glad you could make it.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Come to you today. We got the grant offer from the Airport Coronavirus Response Grant Program for the amount of,
It's $1,003,649.
so, this is from the last Coronavirus Act that was signed into law. I want to say the one in December, I think. We just got this today, so.
This is one that's been announced by everybody that we got it, but it's not officially
Yeah.
accepted.
Everybody knew we got it before I knew we were getting it, so.
Commissioners, do you have any topic of discussion on the item? I'm going to read the motion and then allow somebody to actually make the motion and second. The motion will be to accept the Airport Coronavirus Response Grant Program grant offer number 3-20-0050-028-2021 for the Liberal Mid-America Regional Airport and to authorize City Manager Burke to execute the grant agreement and City Attorney Kane to certify the execution of the grant.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren with a second by Commissioner Lindenbroker. I had to read the entire thing again.
You're good.
Fantastic. Is there any more discussion on the item? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Now moving on to agenda item number 12, we have comments from city staff. Good evening, Skeety.
Hey, how are you? Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, just a couple save the dates. April 14th will be our annual aircraft firefighting training at the airport. We'll probably start that about 8 o'clock, and you guys are welcome to come out and see what we do and get a little experience with that. The following week, on Wednesday the 21st, KU will have their burn trailer here, and that'll be the day for the high school firefighting program, and they'll actually get some live burn experience. So that'll be at the South Station. You guys are welcome to show up for that. I believe all the admin from KU Fire Service Training will be here, and we are going to be the first program for high schools under the new regime, and they want to kind of set the standard with us. So you guys are welcome to show up to that. And that'll be probably about a half to 3/4 of a day for those kids. And then the only other thing I got is a few of you saw the robot that I brought in tonight. If you get the chance, in about a week, 2 weeks, go down to the rec center and look through the robotics room. There's been a lot of effort put into that by several people, and there's some pretty neat artwork down there. So just take that opportunity to come down and look.
I can't wait to get to see it. Everything you've done so far came out looking terrific.
What was the first date on that?
April 14th.
April 14th.
Yeah, Wednesday the 14th.
That's that foam stuff.
Yeah, we'll use the big aircraft truck, and you can just show up to the airport station, and we can let you into the ramp side and get you out there by the simulator.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Bruce.
Hello. Real quick, we'd just like to get a direction or status update on maybe where we're at with the new manual, to get it in print and get it out to the employees for the final version. So any comments or follow-ups we can do now or whenever would be great. Just ready to put that to closure.
How are the rest of you guys feeling about that? I'm kind of to the point where I think we're ready for approval on the new manual.
Okay, yes.
Dude, can we just use this as a consensus time?
Yeah, it can. Yes, you can, because it can be approved and adopted by Cal as the city manager. So if there's a consensus on the commission, then Mr. Burke can put in as a city manager and make it effective. Unless there's anything that wants to.
And you have reviewed all of it, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Is there any more comments? All right, just show of hands of who is going to go ahead and say yes on consensus. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get it printed up.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
Do you have any more city staff that would like to share with us? Moving on to the city manager's report.
Well, the first thing is, if the weather holds out, the intersection at 3rd and Lincoln is just about finished, and if weather holds, they should finish it this week. Again, that's part of the 1 cent sales tax for streets and drainage. I know most people that have driven through there are really impressed. In fact, they don't go airborne now.
Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, it's such a huge improvement on the one side that's done.
And so, really proud of the street crew and the job they've done there. It was a little bit more intense work there than we thought it was going to be, because guess what? It was in a hole and we didn't realize it. So when they started taking everything out, there was mud. And so we had to do quite a bit of excavating and recompaction underneath there before they could even pour. So they've done a real good job there. We're getting ready for hopefully sun and stuff to start greening up. So hopefully you'll see all our staff out pretty busy. They've done a real good job. We finally opened up, starting being able to do things. It's just a great thing for the city. And other than that, I don't think I have anything. No, I'm good.
Fantastic. Do we have any items from citizens? No items from citizens. Any items from groups? No groups. All right, items from commissioners, then we'll start with Commissioner Segrist.
Well, I don't really have all that much other than I'm excited for spring to come and to see how beautiful I know our parks are going to be. And there's a lot of buzz about the robotics programs. So if you have grandchildren or children that you want to go to the summer robotics program, you probably should get them registered for that program, because they're probably going to fill up, and I don't want anybody to be disappointed. That's all I have.
Does anybody know the date on that? For
They
the-
have a schedule. I think there are 3 different camps.
Okay.
A lot of it's gonna be when they finish up and actually get it ready.
Yeah, things will really start after that.
I don't got anything.
I'll pass tonight.
I don't have anything other than I got asked when the bathrooms were gonna open, and I told them probably when you see the sprinklers on.
That's a pretty accurate statement. I mean, we're
Brad would
probably looking at next week now, even on the ball fields to turn them on, aren't we?
Yeah, we were anticipating this week, the weather's, we can't,
One more
if they
winter.
freeze, it's gonna
Yeah.
really
Mess
mess
up.
everything up.
Yeah, the weather's been nice and bipolar the last several weeks. And I have no comments. So moving on to the approval of the vouchers.
Make a motion that we approve the vouchers in the amount of $1,348,151.53.
Second?
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren with a second by Commissioner Segrist to approve the vouchers in the amount of $1,348,151.53. Is there any more discussion on the topic? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you everyone for attending.